Welcome to Tech-Challenged Makers Conquer Ecommerce. I'm Elise, your resident tech expert and author of the book Browser versus Buyer. I've worked with e-commerce shop owners for over 6 years, and I've helped hundreds of creatives overcome their technology fears. Gain clarity and direction in your business with Elise's E-commerce Elevator 6-month group coaching program. Join now at myscheduledbiz.com/elevator. The link is in the show notes. Today, we'll be talking about why technology can be so overwhelming for makers and how you can conquer your technology fears. By the end of this episode, you'll understand what you can do to move forward with tech and why it is so important to your e-commerce business. Now, I'm Elise. You just heard all of these intro videos. This is my very first podcast on this new channel, Tech-Challenged Makers Conquer Ecommerce. And I wanted to start out this podcast by talking a little bit about what I mean by tech-challenged. I want to do kind of a comparison between someone who is what I call tech savvy and someone who is what I call tech challenged, okay? So in this, I'm going to be the tech savvy example. I am a self-proclaimed tech expert. As a matter of fact, when you listen to that intro to this podcast, you specifically heard me say that I'm a tech expert and that I've helped hundreds of e-commerce shop owners. And I say that because I am. I grew up on computers. I have 3 computer programmers in my family. My dad and both my brothers are computer programmers. I code websites as part of what I do for My Scheduled Biz. I have never met an app, plugin, or challenge that I could not handle. Whether that is on a computer, on a phone, even just things like dealing with the audiovisual stuff when it comes to TVs, all of that stuff is stuff that I just understand innately. It's just kind of part of who I am, in addition to having grown up around it and seen everything that exists. I definitely fall in the category of tech savvy. Tech challenged. So I have worked with so many tech-challenged e-commerce makers, I can't even begin to tell you. But to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to identify who I consider to be tech-challenged with a name. So my client is Kathy. Kathy did not grow up with computers, phones, tablets. They didn't exist. She barely uses a computer. She might check her email on her phone or computer, probably on her computer if she checks at all, and she may feel comfortable playing solitaire or a few other things. She probably can browse the internet just a little bit, but she really just doesn't feel comfortable on the computer and doesn't understand the technology or anything behind it. She absolutely hates using her phone for anything other than making phone calls. Maybe she gets a few images, but even just looking at those photos can be a challenge for her. So Kathy is someone that I would consider tech challenged. When someone gives her instructions in technology, it causes this initial gut reaction of, I'm not going to be able to do this. Whereas when someone asks me to do something, my gut reaction is, okay, I'm going to push a whole bunch of buttons, and if I break it, I'll figure out how to fix it. People who are tech challenged typically are afraid to break it because they know they can't fix it. I would say that is one of the biggest differences between someone who is tech savvy versus tech challenged. And of course, there is a rainbow here, right? So someone isn't 100% tech savvy or tech challenged. You may be somewhere in the middle, but I just want to kind of identify what it is we're talking about so that you can have a better understanding of what the point of this podcast is. I have helped hundreds of e-commerce makers who have this exact problem. So I know that this is an issue that I don't hear anyone else talking about, and that's why I've started this podcast. I want to be able to help you. I want you to be able to glean from my experience and my expertise those things that you need so that you can do better in your e-commerce business. So why is it so important for you to be able to conquer your fear of technology? It's important because if you want to have an e-commerce business, that means your business is online, which means everything except for the making of your products is on the computer. All of it is a struggle. Product photography can be a struggle. Videography for sure is a struggle. Understanding the cloud and using the cloud, things like Google Drive, is something that I find a lot of makers struggle with that are tech challenged. Building and maintaining a website can be incredibly overwhelming. Social media is another thing you've got to try and learn how to conquer. Email. All of it is technology, all of it is online, and there isn't a single thing you can do about the fact that you have to manage it. So one option is to hand it off to somebody else and make them do everything, but then you don't have control over your business. And what I find is that a lot of business owners really need to have at least a basic understanding of these things before they're able to hand them off to someone else. Otherwise, their business doesn't progress because they're more invested than the people that they hire to help them. So if you know that you are tech challenged and you sat there and you said, Elise, yes, you got me, nail on the head, that's me. And you know that you want to run an e-commerce business and that you struggle with all or some of those things that I just mentioned, what are you supposed to do? That is why we're having this conversation today. Before I start bringing guests on, before we move on to anything else, I want to help you understand what you have to do. And this is going to be one of the scariest things you're probably going to hear. It's also going to be one of the things that you know in your heart is 100% true. And that is, in order to get over your technology fear, what you have to do is you have to do it anyways. Now, I want to tell you a little story about some of the people that I've worked with in the past. I do a social media video challenge, and most of my clients are in an older demographic. I am definitely younger than pretty much all of my clients. And they have a really hard time with tech. And so in this video challenge, I encourage them to use their cell phones to take their videos. And the reason for that is because I know they have tech problems. I know that taking something from, say, a camera and then having to upload it to their computer and then having to upload it from their computer to Google Drive and then try and get it into their scheduler and all of these things is something that is really overwhelming to do. And along the way, a lot of that is physical. And if they have problems with it, I cannot help you with something that's physical. If it's not online, I can't see it, I can't help you. And one of the things I really pride myself on is the ability to help people without making them feel stupid. I do not believe there is a single question that is dumb. If you have a question, you ask it, and I will do my best to answer it for you without demeaning you or making you feel stupid. Because that does not help anybody, right? I'm here to help, and that's what I like to do. So one of the things is when they're dealing with physical things like transferring from one thing to another, I have no idea if the problem is they had the wrong cord connected, they had it connected to the wrong place. I have no idea what's happening. And it's just really time consuming having to do that physical transfer from thing to thing. So doing it on their phone also allows them to have the editing done on their phone. And 100% of the people that have taken this challenge have told me, I'm not going to use my phone, I'm going to use my computer. And they have, instead of using the apps and plugins that I recommend on their phone to edit, they have decided to do the editing on their computer. They have decided to use a camera and then transfer it to their computer. Some of them use their phones as their camera, but then transfer it to their computer, try to edit it on their computer, then try and transfer it back to where it needs to be so they can actually schedule it and post it to their social media. And during the challenge, 100% of the people tell me, I'm going to use my computer, not my phone. And I really encourage them. And if they've been working with me for any amount of time, usually they'll trust me at least a little bit, enough to give it a shot. And all of my tutorials are using their phone. So when they decide to make that transition to use their computer, they don't have the step-by-step tutorials that they would get if they were using their phone. And so most of them try. And by the end of that challenge, 100% of them say they are glad that they learned how to use their phone. And a lot of them go and upgrade their phone so they can have a better phone so that it'll work even better when they need to do more things for their business. And the moral of the story, right? The point of this story is if you do it and you know that you have someone that can help you, and I volunteer to be that person, and you can come and join my MS Bizzers group on Facebook. It is a free group. You are welcome to put questions in there if you have them, and I will do my best to field all those questions. And if I don't know the answer, the Bizzers are really active in there, and some of them might be able to help you as well. So come join us in the Facebook group. Know that you have support and that you can get help. And if it's something that's really overwhelming, you can even schedule a strategy session with me. But the long and short of it is, if you do it, there are some things that you may not be able to understand and you may not be able to conquer. And that happens. And when that happens, I work with my clients one-on-one to find an easier or different way that they can understand better to do the things that I'm trying to teach. There's been many times where I have tried to take it down to the most basic level, but for some reason that particular lesson just doesn't compute for somebody. So I reimagine it and I find a different way to make it work for you. And we can make that happen. So technology does not have to be the end all to your e-commerce career, okay? You can make this happen. You do have the ability to do this. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how little experience you have. It is something you can do. And 100% of the clients that I have worked with, when they walk away from that technology thing that they were so afraid of, and they're now able to do it, they kind of have a little party, right? It's like your own little spirit is just like dancing. Like, I did this thing that I didn't think that I could do, and I'm so proud of myself. And so this is something that really can bring kind of joy to your life. Yes, I know it's scary. Yes, I know it's overwhelming. But knowing that there are other people going through the same struggles, knowing that there are people out there who can help you with those struggles, I think is everything. So I just want to welcome you to the Tech-Challenged Makers Conquer Ecommerce podcast. I hope that you will follow me and that you will listen to the episodes that are released every single week right here on Tech-Challenged Makers Conquer Ecommerce. And just remember, the best way to get over your tech fear is just to step out and do it anyways. I hope to see you in the Bizzers group, and I hope to help you grow your business. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like what we're doing here at Tech-Challenged Makers Conquer Ecommerce, and it's helping you gain clarity and direction in your business, you should check out Elise's e-commerce elevator. In this 6-month group coaching program, I'll guide you through the ins and outs of building a business for purchase conversion. You'll also get to join up with a small group of other e-commerce shop owners who are focused on building exponential growth and reaching the right audience. Head over to myschedulebizz.com/elevator and join us. We welcome a limited number of new members every 6 months, and by signing up today, you'll reserve your spot. Thanks for listening. See you next week right here on Tech-Challenged Makers Conquer Ecommerce.